What's the worst thing that happened to us business-wise in 2022?
Well, it's a pretty big one too. We didn't launch our product for the 10th year in a row. I'm just teasing. But yeah, we were supposed to launch MarketingBox, so we have this big name change. And I'm teasing about the 10 years, but it's been more than 1 year that we've planned for this to happen. And for whatever reason, it just didn't work, So it was pretty much of a bummer just because we thought this was going to be the year. Everything was in clear sight. But what it taught me is what it teaches me every year is that you have to expect the unexpected. You have to just roll with the punches, take life as it comes. And when you have a bootstrap startup that's trying to go compete with the big boys, you have to have patience, So I've learned patience over this time to help me not ride the roller coaster, the ups and downs, right? Man, it's not a good way to live life. And so we just kind of steady the ship. We have a plan. We understand that in the development environment, it usually takes 2 times as long and costs 3 times as much as what your developers tell you, right? So you start to calculate that in. But really, it's just about the way we've built this is that we have a thriving agency and tech business that's funding all of our operations. And so we're a super successful company as far as revenue goes and profitability and, culture and morale, all of those things, man. We're just clicking on all cylinders, but we just didn't get to that point, which was disappointing. But what can you do in life, man, except this kind of stuff happens all the time that you plan and you have you think you have the best laid out plans for things. And it's teaching me the same thing. I'm getting ready to build a house. We have everything that could be unexpected. So, man, just take a deep breath, enjoy the day, whatever it is, get through it, and you live to see another day, and you just get back at it the next day. And that's what I've found, man, is that we just shed all of that crap from us, and we just keep the main thing, having fun. You can't have fun if you're in a stressful environment. And our rule number 1 is to have fun. So, but it was disappointing, right? But on the adverse side of that, or inverse, however you say it, man, 2023, it happened to work out in our favor when we look back at it. And these are things that always seem to happen too. You think that there's a reason sometimes maybe where your pace is slowed down or you're not running at the pace that, you're running at the level you want to. Maybe there's something better waiting for you. And it just so happened that we ran into this AI stuff, right? That's really a big deal. And we were able to kind of tuck this into the product for the launch without delaying anything, which means this is going to be we're going to be one of the first marketing platforms to integrate this type of tool, which I know it's going to help small businesses. You can see the impact it's going to have on our business. And so, yeah, it was a disappointment not launching in 2022, but I think looking at it from a positive side, this is going to make us even have a bigger splash, some of these new features that we were able to tuck in. And so I think it's just the way it was meant to be, man. That's just the way the ball was meant to bounce.
Yeah, I like in retrospect, I think we're going to be in a much better position to have success. Kind of like that Garth Brooks song. I don't know if you ever heard it. I don't know if you're a big country fan, but he had that song about thank God for unanswered prayers.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do think that's kind of really what we're looking at right now. I mean, obviously, we were pushing really, really hard. We're really anxious because we feel like MarketingBox is a better name even just for what we have right now, but we're waiting to actually launch the product to get this whole thing out. So it's like we're very anxious, we're very eager, we're going both ends of the candle to a certain degree to try to get the collateral, get everything, the branding, everything done right. It's just so much that it didn't happen. But looking back, it's almost like some of the things that we did add in 2022, like adding Shannon, we talked about this.
Yep.
Our social media presence for MarketingBox by itself is phenomenal. So it's just going to keep getting better when we add that product component to it, because we're not only going to be able to just talk about solutions and talk about marketing tips, but we're going to be able to provide an easy solution that we think is going to work really, really well and change the game for small business across the world.
Big time. Yeah. So you only asked about the worst, but if I had to say the best was when you came aboard and we really leaned into our social media strategy. We really leaned into the content. And plus, it's been super enjoyable to have these local businesses in, to highlight them, to hear their stories. It's been fascinating, man. Some of these podcasts that we've done, man, these, the struggles out there and the things that people have to overcome to accomplish it, shit, man, like that's why I look at we didn't launch. That was like the worst thing. But in the big scheme of things, it wound up being a blessing. So we just had a great 2022 at the end of the day, you know.
So, Sean, you said something earlier that I really want you to restate for everybody. You said, looking back on it, I can't really recall anything that negative or something along those lines. Like, that must be a good thing. What is it that you said?
Yeah, when I was sitting here thinking, because we have this topic, and it's like, what is the worst thing? I whistled Dixie through 2022. You know, there was no problems, man. Everything worked like it was supposed to work. We had a couple of hiccups in
challenges, like everybody faces.
Yeah, like we didn't follow the steps in a couple of cases, and so you hate to let a client down. So that's really when I look back on last year. Yeah, we made a couple of mistakes that I wish I could have back in the big scheme of things. Good news on one of the clients, we had done 38 perfect campaigns for them in a row, and had made them tens of millions of dollars. So we had a mulligan in the bag, right? So we made a mess up, but guess what? We were forgiven from it. And I think it's more about the attitude that we have here as a company, that we don't, if things happen, we expect that things are going to happen. We don't anticipate that we're not going to have any stumbling blocks. So I think it's just the way we process it and the way we communicate here. And if there's an issue, it gets out on the table pretty quickly, So there's really not room for dissentment, for backstabbing, for gossip, for any of those things to kind of integrate themselves into an organization, just because that's not the kind of people we are. We really are the way that you see us on this thing. This is the way we live our lives. And so I feel super blessed, because when you asked me that question, I had to really think hard of what was the worst thing, because there really weren't any worse things that happened, which is really just amazing.
It's where you want to be.
It's where you want to be, because it wasn't like there weren't bad things or challenges that happened, but nothing that was catastrophic, nothing that even was a blip on the radar for us, dude. We just run through those speed bumps like they're nothing now, just because we expect them to come. We know what they are, and now we can kind of skip over them, right? They don't bump us and knock us off the road. We skip over the speed bumps because we know they're coming, so we're aware of them.